Welcome to the That's a Sign podcast, where we dive into the world of astrology and explore how the planets influence our lives. I'm your host, and just a quick reminder, this podcast is brought to you by the MoonX app. If you're new to us, start your journey toward inner balance by downloading the MoonX app from the App Store or Google Play. Today, we're diving into Libra, the seventh sign of the zodiac, all about harmony. Fun fact, Libra is the only zodiac sign that isn't represented by an animal or a person, but by an inanimate object, the scales. That says a lot about Libras. They're always seeking balance and the perfect middle ground. Everything would be great if they didn't try to make everyone happy at once. And in the second half of our podcast, we'll take a closer look at the natal charts of some famous Libras: Will Smith, Kate Winslet, and John Lennon. So, stick around. As a sign ruled by Venus, Libras are in love with beauty and grace. They're true aesthetes, surrounding themselves with refined things and always aiming for harmony, whether it's in the world around them, their relationships, or their work. Many Libras are stylists, decorators, and designers, like Ralph Lauren, Donna Karan, and Valentine Udashkin. Others are singers, actresses, and models, like Bridget Bardot, Hilary Duff, Bella Hadid, Kim Kardashian, and Dita Von Teese. And let's not forget, Libras also make excellent lawyers, diplomats, and public figures, like Anna Eleanor Roosevelt, the wife of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. So, if you're born between late September and late October, you likely value true aesthetics, strive for diplomacy and balance, and often create these things in your life and surroundings. Libra is an air sign, and their energy is light and breezy, like a soft wind on a summer evening. They don't like stagnation and love new ideas, making connections, and meeting new people. They crave intellectual interaction, and they want everyone to be happy and content. But in trying to please everyone, Libras can forget about their own needs, which can be a little sad. Libra is a cardinal sign, meaning they're natural initiators. If a situation calls for diplomacy or order, Libras are the first to step up. They can start new projects or suggest ideas to improve relationships and the atmosphere around them while avoiding conflict. However, unlike fixed signs, don't expect a Libra to make a decisive choice or take action in one clear direction. Being true to their nature, they like to weigh all options, preferably more than once, becoming masters of indecision. Choosing one thing can be a real struggle for them. So if you ever go out to dinner with a Libra, prepare for a bit of a wait while they choose between pizza and pasta. As we mentioned, Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and aesthetics. Mars, the planet of aggression and action, is in exile in Libra and feels uncomfortable there. Libra is all about diplomacy and compromise, while Mars symbolizes conflict and direct action. As a result, Mars in Libra tends to avoid conflict and can lead to indecision. Pluto, the planet of transformation and Mars's elder sibling, isn't thrilled by Libra's gentle approach either. The Libra-Aries axis. While Aries, Libra's opposite sign, represents the I, Libra symbolizes we and rules the seventh house of partnerships, making them ideal mediators in relationships. Where Libras smooth things over and look for compromises, Aries charges forward, seeking independence and not holding back, no matter how sharp their words might be. Now, let's dive into the practical part. First up, we're going to talk about, drum roll please, Will Smith. Will Smith's sun in Libra is in his fifth house of creativity, hobbies, and children, and Will's got this area covered. He's an actor, singer, writer, and father of 3 creative kids, Jaden, Trey, and Willow, who have all found their own success in creative fields. You might remember, the sun in our charts also represents the father figure. But Libras aren't just about creativity and art. They're also about duality and uncertainty. Mercury in Libra adds to this with its influence on eloquent speech, writing, and vocal talent. Here's how Will Smith sums himself up in his 2024 song, Work of Art. I am the paint, and I'm the brush, and I'm the canvas. I am a saint, but if you touch, I am a savage. I am a Libra, but I identify as a Cancer. Plus, Will isn't your typical Libra. His sun is aligned with Uranus, the rebel and prankster, making him a bit of a super planet. His fame skyrocketed after starring in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where he played himself, the fun-loving guy who suddenly finds himself in the world of the Hollywood elite. This success is clearly linked to Uranus, which rules over humor and charisma. We mention his youth for a reason. The South Node, which is tied to past life experiences and what we rely on in the first half of life, is in Libra in Will's 5th house as well. But many of you probably remember a rough moment in Will's biography. In the spring of 2022, during the Oscars, he struck Chris Rock over a joke about his wife's alopecia. So where was Libra's diplomacy then? Well, we did warn you, Will's not your average Libra. The Oscars incident can be explained not just by the union of a solar self with Uranus the rebel, but also by the influence of the North Node in Aries, which brings out aggression and conflict. The North and South Nodes in everyone's charts are in opposition to each other. So while Will's South Node in Libra makes him diplomatic and creative, his North Node in Aries pushes him toward conflict and assertion. Oh, and don't worry, we're not suggesting just anyone with a North Node in Aries should start throwing punches. For Will, this contrast plays out in much more peaceful ways. His career shows this transition from Libra's charm and partnership roles, like in Men in Black, where he was funny and charismatic, to Aries' combative, powerful roles, like in Ali, where he became a forceful and determined character. According to Will, this role pushed him to his physical, emotional, and spiritual limits. He took it very seriously, working out 6 hours a day, following a strict boxer's diet, and gaining 15 kilograms of muscle. While he kept playing on Libra's old notes, taking roles in the Bad Boys and Men in Black sequels, his new, strong, heroic persona was in high demand. Films like Hancock, I, Robot, and I Am Legend all fit this mold. And, by the way, Will holds the second highest bench press record in Hollywood, only behind Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So, yeah, he's not one to mess with. But no strength can resist the charm of a Libra and their ruler, Venus, the planet of love. Will's Venus, like his sun, is in Libra, which means he craves relationships. Interestingly, both Will and his wife Jada Pinkett Smith have Venus in Libra. How sweet is that? Venus reveals how we relate to others and what we need in relationships, so Will and Jada definitely speak the same love language. But all of Will's Libran qualities can irritate Jada's Virgo stellium, Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Pluto. Libra and Virgo, being neighboring signs, often act as regulators for each other. While Libra focuses on beauty and appearances, Virgo zooms in on managing relationships and all the fine details. That's likely where their well-known relationship challenges and living separately stem from. If you want to know more about Virgos, check out our previous podcast. We covered it all there. Now, let's move on from charming Will to his equally captivating co-star from the 2016 movie Collateral Beauty, Kate Winslet. With her ascendant and a stellium of Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Pluto in Libra, Kate Winslet holds the Guinness World Record as the youngest actress to receive 6 Oscar nominations. Libra's strong influence gives her an outstanding ability to play a wide range of complex roles, from the romantic Rose in Titanic to the brave Lee Miller in her new movie, Lee, and the fierce Elena in the series Mare of Easttown. No doubt, Pluto in this stellium is responsible for her deep immersion into her roles. This was especially true in her new film, Lee, about the war photographer, model, and Picasso's friend, Lee Miller. Not only did Kate star in the lead role, but she also produced the film and spent 8 years creating a deeply emotional portrait of a strong and multifaceted woman. Interestingly, as Time reports, the idea for the film came from a Libran hobby of hers. Kate Winslet loves tables. She loves them so much that she collects antique tables. There's nothing particularly fancy about them, but they captivate her. "It's the knots and the whorls, the shape and feel," she says. That's such a Libran appreciation for beauty, don't you think? This passion unexpectedly influenced her career. In 2015, friends who ran an auction house in Cornwall came across a table from the home of Annie Penrose, the sister of Roland Penrose, who was married to Lee Miller for many years. When the table arrived at Winslet's house, she placed her hands on it and thought of all the people who had sat there. Her thoughts turned to Miller. Why hadn't anyone made a film about her? With strong Libran influences and Mercury in Libra, Kate is also drawn to truth and justice. She's outspoken about the pressures on women in Hollywood and the body shaming she experienced after Titanic. In her natal chart, a Libra stellium and moon opposing Jupiter in the 7th house of partnerships highlight this theme. Libras have a heightened sense of empathy, though it can sometimes backfire on them. They easily pick up on what others are feeling. For Kate, overcoming the barrier between actors and crew has been important. It's how she first connected with cinematographer and director Ellen Kuras on the set of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. She knew everyone's lines as well as her own, was accessible and kind to the crew, and those are qualities we notice as crew people, recalls Kuras. At the same time, Winslet radiates energy, curses freely, laughs often, and tends to act out scenarios. "I always have to act everything out. I've always played women who, hopefully, are real women," she says. She's known for embracing her natural self and isn't afraid to appear on screen without makeup. Anything that smacks of social injustice, like someone not being able to do something just because their parents don't have money, drives me crazy, she says, laughing. "I'm sure if I wasn't an actor, I would have ended up being a lawyer." Indeed, many Libras become lawyers or advocates in the pursuit of justice. To wrap things up, let's talk about the legendary peacemaker himself, John Lennon. With his sun in Libra, Lennon is famous for his gentle protest songs. Libras are idealists, often striving for peace and harmony, which explains his desire to create a utopian future. Songs like Imagine perfectly reflect this wish for peace and social justice. Actually, John Lennon had Aries rising and the moon in Aquarius, and how masterfully he balanced this warrior energy with his Libra sun, Mars, North Node, and the cusp of his 7th house of partnerships. Do you remember our educational section about the nodes and life purpose? It's fascinating that in this one podcast, we've discussed both Will Smith and John Lennon, who share the same karmic axis, Aries, Libra. Lennon, guided by peaceful Libra, knew how to charm those around him to get what he wanted. It's interesting how Mars, the planet of anger, functioned in his Libra. For instance, in an angry letter to Paul McCartney about the breakup of the Beatles, Lennon first unleashed his emotions, but then ended it with something like, "No hard feelings, eh?" As if he wanted to make peace right after. This paradox of accusing and then immediately softening perfectly describes his contradictory nature. Yet, when he asked what he most wanted to be remembered for, Lennon quickly answered, "The great peacemaker." So, it seems his Libra sun ultimately outweighed his Aries rising. And that's exactly what we wish for all of us during this beautiful, diplomatic Libra season. Peace and harmony. Thanks for tuning in from the MoonX app team. See you next time.